What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So, before I get started on this video, let me say this. I hope all of you out there who have been affected or been hit by this latest group of winter storms, I hope that you are all doing good. I hope that you're all safe. I hope that your families are doing good. We were hit pretty hard in my area where I live at by the winter storm. It wasn't a lot of snow, but it was so cold, everything basically froze over, and that those low temperatures and the ice did a lot of damage. Like there were a lot of people that lost power. I lost power and internet for a couple of hours, like the second day that was all going on, and there were a lot of trees, a lot of tree damage, and power lines were down. Like it was weird. Like the looking outside, you could see like the power lines and the trees literally had icicles hanging off of them, and anything that was outside was basically frozen solid. So it was crazy here for a while. So that's why I did not get to upload as much content as I wanted to. But we made it through, and I'm getting back on the horse again to get some stuff out to you guys. Hopefully I'll have some really good videos for you this week. I got some fun intros already done and lined up for these specific videos, so hopefully you will enjoy that. But this is a last minute video that I wanted to do based on a story that I saw super early this morning. And the story is of the female rapper, Sexyy Red, how she performed at a Trump advisor's Mar-a-Lago wedding. So there were two of Trump's most trusted advisors were getting married, and they decided that the people they wanted to perform at this wedding was Sexyy Red. They wanted Sexyy Red there, and Nicki Minaj also attended. We all know that Nicki Minaj has gone 100% MAGA, right? Because the tangerine is letting her stay in the United States with her sex abuse scandal husband and brother and whatnot. Is the tangerine is going to make all that go away and let Nicki's Botox face and bad Brazilian butt cheeks stay in the country. So, she's gone on and become the new mascot for the MAGA movement, right? But also, like I said, that at this wedding, which had nothing but mostly white people, we got Sexyy Red performing, right? And, I didn't see all the videos from the wedding, obviously, because I wasn't there, but they posted a few clips on Twitter/X, and you see Sexyy Red up on stage performing her song. What's the song she performed, they said? I've never heard of it before, so I'm just reading off the article. The name of the song is called Get It Sexy. So, she's performing on stage, and you see all these white people in the audience just dancing and throwing up their hands to the song and whatnot, right? Now, here's the thing, and this is the reason why I'm reporting on this particular story, and this is why I find it interesting. It's the fact that now all of a sudden, apparently it's okay for these conservatives to celebrate artists like Nicki Minaj and Sexyy Red. Now, when these artists first came out, the conservatives, especially through a lot of their, black conservative surrogates, were using these women to castigate and point the finger at the black community. Remember that? When Nicki Minaj first came out, and then of course when Sexyy Red came out, I couldn't log on to the internet without seeing one of these black conservatives talking about, Sexyy Red is making this type of derogatory music and is leading the black community astray, and it's so bad for the black community and black people. If black people or black girls listen to it, it's just going to destroy the community, right? Like she was the litmus test. Sexyy Red was the litmus test for the entire black community. This hood rat from, I think she's from St. Louis, right? Who just mysteriously popped up out of nowhere singing about her booty hole being brown. She is the litmus test, and she is the epitome of the black community, black women, and black culture, right? And they would always use her as a way to tear us down and make the whole black community seem bad. And I was wondering actually, very recently, I was wondering, I was like, where is Sexy Red? Because I haven't heard from her in a long time. Like I haven't seen any stories, I haven't seen any of these buck dancing black conservatives talk about her really since Trump got in the White House. But now she's popped up and she's actually performing at a Trump advisor's wedding. And this was down there at Mar-a-Lago, down there in Doral in Miami, right? And she's, like I said, performing up there, center stage, wearing the same trashy clothes, singing the same trashy music. And once again, it's nothing but a bunch of white people with their phones out, throwing their hands in the air, throwing balloons and all this and drinks in the air and whatnot, and just enjoying themselves. Now, when these white people are enjoying Sexy Red's music, it's not looked at as this is the downfall of the white community. You see, they're allowed to just enjoy whatever type of music they want and it not be seen as a negative towards them. Like I've noticed, it came to me very recently. This is not something new, but it's something that became new and apparent to me that black people are the only group that really get looked at in a negative light because of any type of music. Not even if we didn't create the music, even if we just listened to it. Like I saw this blog post where it had, black men and black women kind of going back and forth. And there were idiots like black men talking about like, black women are bad because black women listen to Cardi B. And, the women basically brought up that Cardi B is not black. And they said, well, yeah, but black women listen to Cardi B. So it's like, so even if you are not the one that created the music, even if you just listen to it, it's seen as a negative towards you. If you're black anyway. And I've noticed that. And I had to sit there and think about it, think about our history in this country. When you think about any music that black people have created, going all the way back to like either ragtime and jazz and, bebop and rock music, it's always seen as something derogatory that we're doing, right? It's always seen as something negative or an evil subculture, right? Like even that clown Thomas Sowell refers to rap music as a bad subculture that has destroyed all of black people, apparently, according to his old sour ass. But yeah, they it's always looked at black people as something negative with whatever musical genre there is. This is why even myself, I decided that I'm not going to keep repeating the nonsense of, well, these black rappers are saying this, that, and the third, or they're bad, so that means black people are bad, or the black youth is bad, or whatever. I don't do that anymore. There's a time where I might have repeated stuff like that, but I don't do it now because I've seen the game. Once you step back and you become more objective, you see the game for what it is. And like I said, this is nothing new. It's only something that's become apparent to myself when I started thinking about it and really having a better understanding of our history. Whatever musical genre we come up with is seen in a negative way when it applies to us. Now, when white people want to steal it, or when some other group wants to steal it and use it for themselves, right, and enrich themselves, or they just want to listen to it, and it always seems like it's like a weird generational thing where black people will create a form of music, right, and the older generation will tear down black people and that form of music and say it's just jungle music, it's trash, it's not good. But the younger generation of white kids wanting to rebel against that older generation of white people, or just wanting to, seem different from their older generation, they embrace that new form of black music, and it's a way for them to rebel against their own parents. So they start celebrating it, they start appropriating it, and then it gets to the point where they basically push out black people. They push black people out of that art form and they assimilate it and take it as their own, push black people out, and black people have to go create a whole new musical genre just to, keep going, or just, just the fact that we're creative as is, right? But, then that musical genre is not seen as something bad anymore once white people take it over and appropriate it. Now it's time to be honored. Right now now there's a rock and roll hall of fame to honor these heroes of rock music. When black people were creating it, it was seen as devil music. It was seen as jungle music, and it was seen as corrupting the white youth, right? But when white people take it over, now white people are the kings of rock and roll, right? They laud themselves as that. White people are the greatest guitar players, or even now with hip hop, they will try to make Eminem the king of hip hop, say he's the greatest of all time, he's the GOAT, right? So that's how it works. Once they take it over, and once they decide that they're it's all to the good, then all of a sudden it's not that bad. I'm waiting for a white female to show up out there who is accepted by other whites, who's rapping nasty and rapping about her crotch and her booty and all this other stuff, and for whites to accept her, and then all of a sudden that'll be cool. But right now it seems like it's cool with them when it comes to people like Nicki Minaj and Sexyy Red, as long as they're happy enough to regurgitate that MAGA bigoted nonsense, or just keep their mouth shut. They'll honor these types of people. They'll honor people like Nicki Minaj and Sexyy Red, when before these were the worst women in the world, and they were destroying black people and black society, and they were used as a bludgeon against black people, especially against black women. But now all of a sudden, I guess they're cool. It's all to the good. Now you can have them perform at your wedding, and they can do the same old nasty songs or whatever, and twerk and whatnot, and it's okay. It's fun then. But when black people were watching it, then it's like, oh, look at these Negroes over here listening to this nasty music. See, I told you they were subhuman. I told you they didn't have a soul. I told you that they weren't worth it. I told you how terrible their culture was. And a lot of these black Republicans and black conservatives, they repeat nonsense like that. That's like their main thing. Like I've even seen, people like Anton Daniels, and very recently I saw that clown Myron Gaines talking trash about the black community, saying, well, the black community is violent because they support this black rapper. I think he was something like King Von or something like that. He's like, black people support King Von, but black people hate me. Why do black people hate me and support King Von? It's like, well, Negro, it's because you always trash the black community. Like, why would anyone like you if all you're doing is attacking black people 24/7 and throwing up Heil Hitler signs and thinking saying black people deserve to die and all this other nonsense? Why would black people like you? You're a whiny little punk anyway. No one's going to like you just for that. But he's always quick to draw that comparison, saying, well, if black people like a certain rapper, then that means all black people are bad. You know what I mean? Like it's nonsense. It's nonsense. And that type of negative reinforcement, I have to call out the hypocrisy of it. If it's okay for white folks to be dancing and doing line dances and doing twerking their little flat butts to Sexyy Red and Nicki Minaj at somebody's wedding, then you can't attack black people for doing the same thing, right? It can't be negative when black people do it, and positive and okay when white people do it. That's not how it works, right? So you folks can let me know how you feel about this in the comments section. I'd love to hear your opinions on this story. Anyway, Mad Black, and I will be back with my foot on the devil's back.